Steph Curry has agreed to a 4-year, $215 million extension with the Warriors.
Ooh.
This deal would make Steph the first player ever to have two $200 million plus contracts in a career. Perk, I'm supposed to ask you your reaction, but I think I'm hearing it right now.
Look, Rachel, he deserved every penny of it, okay? And look, I'm happy for Steph Curry and what he did for this Warriors franchise. We're talking about the greatest Warrior of all time, a top 5 point guard of all time, the greatest shooter of all time, and he's not finished yet. I'm not saying that he's going to deliver a championship, but he's going to deliver some must-see TV basketball-wise. He's going to give the fans what they want, just like he did last season. I'm happy for Steph Curry. He deserved every penny and more.
Total no-brainer. I mean,
certainly from the Warriors side.
It all starts with Steph Curry. Yeah. Everything. Every bit of success. All the championships, all the finals runs, all the highlights, all the sellout crowds, a new arena, everything. It all starts and ends with him. And this is what you do when you have a franchise player. You reward them. And by the way, he was in the MVP conversation last year. It's not like he's in decline or anything. And that was without Klay Thompson. That was with a team that was kind of a makeshift team trying to find its way. They obviously have made so far a choice to stay younger and draft younger players, and that's sort of been controversial. But look, this team's going to be really good next year, and this is what you do for an all-time icon. And not just that, an all-time leader and culture setter for that locker room. All the vibes, everything stems from him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and look, there's no question that he deserves it.
Oh, go ahead. Bad, Rachel.
No, go ahead, Perk. I thought you were going to chime back in. Go ahead.
I just want to know. I just want to know if Zach could give us that little wiggle when he be hitting those 3-pointers at LA Fitness. Hey, Zach, do you be hitting that?
I'm not even going to dignify this. I hope you just fell off your chair.
I just want to get a little credit. My shoulders are doing an excellent job here. And anyway, there's no question, of course, that Steph Curry, while Perk composes himself, there's no question Steph Curry deserves this. The only interesting wrinkle, I think, in this, and this is a good wrinkle for the Warriors, is that LeBron kind of ushered in with those 1-and-1s with Cleveland, and we saw Kevin Durant then do it in Golden State, and then we've seen other people pick it up throughout the league. This idea of players using shorter contracts to hold management accountable, right? Players who realized they were so good, they didn't need the, quote, security of a 4-year deal because they knew in a year or two they could get another big deal. So why not have shorter deals to hold management accountable? Producer Steve is in my ear saying stall, so we got to work on that. But the idea that you hold management accountable. And I think that him signing this deal early, remember, Giannis Antetokounmpo did not sign that Supermax until, the first week of training camp, basically, right? He was already back in training camp, and that was on purpose. The purpose was, let's see what you do this summer. The fact that Steph Curry has signed this extension right at the beginning of when he could sign this extension, that to me is just as much of a message as the holding people accountable guys of saying, I am holding management accountable and I think they're doing good work. I think it is a specific vote of confidence in the front office, and we should note that as well. I think the reason that producer Steve has asked me to stall a little bit is that we have breaking news going on.
Where's the crank?
Adrian Wojnarowski reporting Carmelo Anthony is on his way back to being reunited with his friend LeBron James, going to the LA Lakers.
Ooh.
And we've been hearing about this for a while. These guys met when they were in high school. They played a huge game against.
According to multiple sources, Russell Westbrook had called the star and wanted to team up in LA. But instead, Leonard didn't just take the call. Instead, he filed it away and used it to ultimately poach Paul George into coming to LA. Our Kendrick Perkins has some very passionate thoughts about this. So, Kendrick, carry on.
Carry on. Tell Stephen A. and Max to keep a cool booty while I address this situation, all right? No, Max, that's Max. Stop. Just stop. Max Kellerman. Stop it, Max. Stop it. What, Max? What are you talking about?
Calm down.
Hold that L. He better knock him down. He's a professional. Bro, put some respect on that man's name. We lost our mind debating with you. Yeah, you lost, all right. They want all this smoke. Carry on.
Well then, Perk. I would really like to have you carry on some more.
Well, here it is, right? Let me start off by saying this. I think Kawhi Leonard is a hell of a basketball player, and what he's accomplished has been golden, right? Winning championships and finals MVPs, 2-time defensive player of the year. But here's the problem that I have with Kawhi Leonard. They have this old saying that goes around the country of America, right? The United States, and it's not just in the South. Kawhi Leonard is a guy that throws stones and hide his hand, all right? And when it comes down to it, we have been letting him off the hook for too long. We have been letting him off the hook for too long. And he's a guy that flies under the radar, that has been doing sneaky stuff, been getting catered to, and just because he's quiet, we don't address him. We looking at this situation with him and Russell Westbrook. This is supposed to be your homie. This is a confidential conversation. You don't use this conversation or ignore this brother phone call to go lure Paul George to come to the Clippers. By the way, when you get to the Clippers, the firing of Doc Rivers, everybody wanted to point the finger at Paul George, but Paul George wasn't the only one that had a saying in firing Doc Rivers. Kawhi Leonard was right there with him, but nobody wanted to blame Kawhi Leonard for what he was doing. And then to top it off, you look at this season alone, right? Kawhi Leonard gets hurt, he goes down. Most of the time when you see a guy go down and your team is in the heat of the battle and they're in the playoffs, they not in the suite wiggling their toes, eating steak and shrimp. They down there on the bench, encouraging their teammates. They're in the trenches with their guys, giving pep talks, helping the young guys like Terrence Mann be down there in the trenches. So look, we heard about the helicopter rides to the practice facility and to the plane being held up and being late, not being able to take off on time because they was waiting on Kawhi Leonard. Let LeBron James do some stuff like that and watch how people go in the media and kill them. And I'm part of the problem because we should have been addressed this like the numbers on the house. Carry the hell on.
All right, Kendrick. I mean, I can't disagree with anything that you said there. But the one thing that I'm confused about is you did this to me earlier. You were wrong, but you tried to do it. You tried to go back to yesterday and point out a slight contradiction that I actually didn't make. But I feel like yesterday I was saying some of these things, like Kawhi was being a little bit dishonest with the organization. And you responded to me by saying, no. He was in communication. They love Kawhi there. Kawhi is looking out for everybody. They was trying to keep the other team on their toes. That's why he wasn't telling people what was going on. So I feel you. I'm with you. Kawhi does seem like some of the things that he's doing is a little bit sketchy, but I'm just confused at what happened. It took this one story to put you over the top to come to my side?
No. You see, when you get a clean cut, and you come on here looking like Lil Boosie, you think you slick, right? But I ain't falling for it because we was talking about the injury. We was talking about the injury to Kawhi Leonard. We never talked about what happened behind the scenes. We talked about the injury part of it and about them covering that up for us, him tearing his ACL. I never talked about him sitting up in the suite and being catered to and the way that he's been handling things behind the scenes and not being held accountable. We talked about them hiding his injury. That's what the communication part is. You tried to be slick, but you can't out-slick a slick, okay?
Marcus,
Perk, I love it.
Feel free
I
to
love it. I love it.
interject.
But you're right, man. You're right. I felt like Kawhi has skated by a little bit on a lot of things he's done. And obviously, when you look at it from a perspective of a player taking ownership of his own career, we all applaud